Hey guys, welcome to my first commentary. I was thinking of doing like a face cam, but like this will do. Like I'm playing some COD right now. Well, I'm playing some COD, and this is like a gameplay is like a month old, but that's not something I want to talk about today. To be honest, like I've been in a season where I've had to slow down and actually look at my life instead of like trying to rush into the next things to avoid feeling what I'm feeling. And that hasn't been easy. Like, there was a relationship in my life that mattered deeply to me, and it wasn't service level. It wasn't service level, but it wasn't casual, and it wasn't something that I can just shrug off and pretend it like it didn't leave a mark. It challenged me in ways that I didn't expect it to be like, especially emotionally. Like, like it was this relationship, like like it brought like my emotional side of me. And before that relationship, I thought I understood myself pretty well. I thought I knew how to like handle stress, conflict, responsibility, but being close to someone like that has a way of like exposing parts of you that you didn't know were there. Um, I don't look back at that relationship with anger. I think I don't think of her like poorly of her. If anything, like I have a lot of respect for her, like the way she showed up, the way she cared, the way she pushed me to grow. Even like when I wasn't fully ready for, I do appreciate a lot of that, from her. She had a way of seeing things clearly, of naming like emotions, naming emotions instead of like avoiding them, and being close to someone like that forces you like to either grow or like fall behind. And if I'm being honest, like there were moments where I did fucking like fell behind. Like I did like a shit ton, a shit ton of times, and there was a shit ton of moments like that. There were times where I reacted instead of responding. Times where in my own life made me like less steady than I needed to be. I didn't always lead myself well, and when you don't lead yourself well, that shows up everywhere, especially in a relationship. That's something like I've had to take ownership of, like, but not like in a destructive way, or like not in a way like that beats myself up like endlessly, but in the way that's like, how do you want to say it? Like, like in a way that tells you like, I see it now. And one of the hardest truths I've had to accept is that like love doesn't automatically give you the capacity to sustain a relationship. But because you can care deeply and still not be equipped like for the level of consistency. Your emotional state, and you know and leadership isn't that doesn't like leadership that's required, and that doesn't make the love fake. It doesn't make the relationship a failure. It just means that there was a gap between intention and capacity. And that, I ain't gonna lie, like that the realization like didn't hit me all at once, but it did like creep up on me quietly, like day to day, especially now as I'm working. I'm like right now, like I'm working towards becoming a loan officer. Like, so like currently, like right now I'm studying for the NMLS exam, and that motherfucker been hard. I ain't gonna lie, like it's been fucking humbling in a way like I didn't fully like expect. On the surface, it's just material, laws, regulation, concepts, but underneath that's just exposing my habits, like my discipline, how I deal with pressure. Like there are days where I'm locked in, like focused, confident, like disciplined, and then there are days like where my mind wonders like where I like procrastinate, like the way I am now, like how I've been fucking speaking this whole time because I fucking suck at speaking. I gotta get better at that, but but like where I feel overwhelmed and tempted to like disengage, and I'm not gonna lie, that that's been happening recently. Like these past 4 days, like I have not been locked in, and I have to admit that like something uncomfortable to myself, like the same parts of me that struggle with consistency is studying, or the same parts of me that struggle with consistency emotionally, like in the relationship. That connection matters because it tells me like this year isn't something. It's just, I don't even want to say it. Fuck, man. I thought I had this shit locked in, bro. That hold on, wait. Like this year, like isn't about passing like an exam. It's about like becoming someone, like becoming like who can hold weight and responsibility, pressure, expectations. Without buckling or checking out. When I think back on that relationship, I don't think about arguments or endings. I just think about the moments where I was being invited to step into a higher version of myself. Yeah, like yeah, like I do think about that. And sometimes I hesitated. And that's not a regret. That's awareness, and awareness is the beginning of change. And I still think about her sometimes, not in a way that pulls me backward, but then again, like not in a way that makes me want to reopen something that's already closed, but in a way that reminds me of the standard of the connection I want to be capable of, sustaining in the future. That's important to me, and because honoring someone that doesn't mean clinging to the past. It just means letting the impact that they had on you actually shape you, how you move forward. Right now, to me, that looks like discipline. It looks like structure, and it looks like choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. And some days, I'm not gonna lie, some days it's lonely. Like I ain't gonna lie, like sometimes it's really lonely. Like it's fucking sad. But like sometimes, like it's frustrating. Some days I wish things had unfolded differently, but wishing doesn't build anything. What builds something is showing up anyway. So I study even when I don't feel like it. I sit with discomfort instead of running from it. I pay attention to where I get reactive, impatient, or avoidant, and I work on it. I still struggle. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do have, I'm flawed, but I am trying to work on it. Not because I'm trying to prove anything to anyone, but because like the person I want to become requires this level of honesty and effort. I don't believe everything happens for a reason, some neat packaged way, but I do believe that if something mattered, then it deserves to be integrated, not erased or not romanticized. And integrated means becoming more grounded, more disciplined, and more emotionally steady than I was before. That's what I'm working towards to right now. Not perfection, not control, but capacity. Like the capacity to lead myself, the capacity to like to build a future, the capacity to like to fully show up, like when it matters. Next time. That's where I'm at. Respectful of what shaped me. Honest about where I fell short. Committed to do better, and just quietly, consistently, and with intention. Well, that does it for this video. Because I'm tired of fucking speaking. But no, like I needed this, like for real. I don't know, like who will watch this video because I'm just gonna upload like I'll upload here and there, but not all the time. But actually, no, I do plan on posting more content on here and TikTok, maybe Instagram, but not really. But just just love your partner and love your family. Like whatever you want to do in your part of life, go ahead and do it. Like you're young. There's you're never too old to do things. Honestly, like just dang, look how I got him. Damn, hold on. Okay, I'm out of topic here. Okay, all right, man. Like y'all be safe, man. Like for real. I'll see y'all, next time. You know, but thank you for hearing me out, man. Peace.